Here's what they're saying, that a phone call was made, and here's the full screen. In this phone call, the president asked whether Jeffrey Berman, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York and a Trump ally, could be put in charge of the widening investigation, the Cohen investigation, according to several American officials with direct knowledge of the call, asking him, hey, could we put my ally over here in charge of this Cohen thing, because the Cohen thing had just gone very badly when Cohen testified under oath that the president directed him to make those calls, and in essence, according to the reading of that, making him something of an unindicted co-conspirator.
And Matt Whitaker testified under oath just a week or 10 days ago. The president referred to that testimony in answer to the question from one of the reporters, that he had not been asked to influence any decisions that the DOJ was being asked to make.
Well, is that the same thing, though? Because what he said was, could you put this other guy in charge? Could he be put in charge? The semantics often matter.
They do, because there's two potential crimes here for Matt Whitaker. One is actual perjury, lying to the Congress. The other is misleading. Remember, you could be truthful, but still misleading, and there are those two statutes there. You not only have to be truthful, you cannot mislead. So if he said, the president never asked me to do something, and it's misleading because he knew what the president wanted. Look, Jeff Berman is a respected lawyer because he's respected.
That's the one that, according to the Times reporting, the president wanted put in charge of the Cohen investigation.
Because the president nominated him and caused him to be the chief federal prosecutor in Manhattan. But Mr. Berman had the good ethical sense to say, this involves Donald Trump, I'm not involved in it.
This phone call, if the Times reporting is accurate, is that phone call evidence, the phone call would be evidence of what?
Corrupt intent. That is, an effort to use the levers of power of the government for a corrupt purpose, to deflect an investigation into himself or his allies. Remember, the federal prosecutors in New York have two investigations going on. One was the investigation of Michael Cohen, and that is passed on to a guy named Robert Kazumi. Bob Kazumi, a professional prosecutor, an apolitical person, used to be the chief prosecutor at the Securities and Exchange Commission. He's the one who told a federal judge, this Michael Cohen, David Pecker, paying women to remain silent was orchestrated by Donald Trump. Second investigation, one still going on here in New York, is the investigation of the Trump inaugural and transition. Who paid for all that? And was there anything that went wrong in the payments? This must be some there because they are investigating it. President Trump, if the New York Times is correct, wanted his ally to be in charge of both of those investigations. And Matt Whitaker, to his credit apparently, did not execute that command.
But that phone call, you said that's evident of corrupt intent.
On the part of the president, because he's making a
Would that be obstruction?
Yes. It would be attempted obstruction. It would only be obstruction if it succeeded. But if you try to interfere with a criminal prosecution that may knock at your own door, by putting your ally in there, that is clearly an attempt to obstruct justice.
The article is lengthy. It's online on the homepage at NewYorkTimes.com. Judge, there's more to it. There's discussion of others who are close to the president.
There's a very, very disturbing discussion in this article, which again the president denies, about his utilization of colleagues in Congress and utilizing...
Well, he wasn't actually asked about this part, but go on.
Utilizing, you're right, at least in the part we saw, utilizing their subpoena power, because the Republicans controlled the House of Representatives at the time, to subpoena documents that Bob Mueller wanted to keep secret in order to interfere with Mueller or embarrass Mueller or cause people to question Mueller's motivation. Quite frankly, I've never seen anything like this before. A sitting president of the United States using his allies in the Congress to interfere with an ongoing criminal investigation. This breaks new ground.
That's the allegation in the Times report today. The four reporters with the bylines there, people will know them, and their reporting has stood up quite well. You wonder, we're at the very beginning of this. This has only been out in the open for the last hour and a half. The president's White House had been involved, but if you watched him there, just as John Roberts just reported, it appeared from the president's reaction that he knew nothing of this. But certainly his White House did, because Maggie Haberman says the Times told them.
It appeared that he was surprised by the question. Now, maybe he was unaware.
Maybe he didn't know the article was out.
Right,
we don't know.
The article was out, but the article is, quite frankly, dynamite, lengthy, and well documented. Where it goes from here, I don't know, but I'll tell you who I know is reading it as we speak. Bob Mueller and team.